All right. We're in the home stretch now, and we'll just talk about AI integrations. We've mainly talked about AI within HubSpot, but of course, and we did allude to this earlier, you can call your own tools from HubSpot. For example, ChatGPT or Claude Gemini, you can call that from HubSpot. And you can also do the reverse. You can call HubSpot from your own AI tools. So first of all, if you're calling AI tools from within HubSpot, you're basically going to do that from workflow actions, as we alluded to earlier, and there's a bunch of LLM options in the HubSpot marketplace: Gemini, OpenAI, Anthropic, of course, even XAI on Twitter. I don't know well, Grok's pretty good, actually.
It is.
See how that's going.
Yeah.
And then
what's that other one that I've never heard of, Craig?
Yeah, I don't know what Cohere is, but
yeah,
there you go. And I'm sure there'll be others. I was surprised there wasn't Mistral and a few others in there as well, but I guess they're probably coming. And you've got a screenshot in here of, let's say you're calling Claude. You've got to choose the model. And I think the important thing to highlight here is you set this up in a workflow to call out to, whatever the external tool is.
Yes.
Claude in this case, but you're setting...
so Claude in this instance.
Yeah, you're actually setting the model that it's going to use. And this creates a bit of a maintenance task because let's say they sunset a model. Remember ChatGPT just sunset a whole bunch of their earlier models? If that was in your workflow before, I don't know what's going to happen. I assume it just stopped working. So there's actually a maintenance overhead here because if you start using this in a bunch of workflows, then you want to update the model to something new. I think there's no auto way to do that at the moment. Like I don't think in any of these models there's an option that says just use the most recent or the most advanced.
Yeah.
So there's a maintenance issue there. But what's been your experience with these, Ian? You found it a useful option?
I haven't fully tested it as yet. Yeah. I'm in the middle of testing it, Craig, but I just discovered this and I was like, oh, hang on a second. Here's going to be some maintenance. But you know what? Just as everything gets better, I'm pretty sure that, use the latest model might turn up inside. Now, I guess even with that, and this is the caveat, right? Like I was doing something similar to this, but on the other side. And I happened to use a new model that rolled out in Claude. And I ran something, I think I was putting together a case study. And it chewed up all my credits for the day. And then I was like, at the end of the case study, after it'd done all the work, when I tried to refine it further using another prompt, it said, oh, you've run out of your credits for the day.
Sorry, credits, HubSpot credits or Claude?
No, Claude.
Claude, yeah.
Yeah. And so then I realized the model I ran was the latest, which happened to be the most expensive at the time.
Oh, of course.
And I did a bit of research and I'm like, oh, I just chewed all my credits in like a couple of prompts. I'm like, oh, okay. So it then made me aware of the different models, what it's good at, and etc. So I think like all of this, like you learn as you travel the road, right? You're like, you get to places and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or this is what I need to be aware of. And I think at no point would you ever figure that out by reading documentation. It's by playing with the tool that you actually figure that out. So definitely, I think what we're going to see is there's going to be lots of education that's going to need to be done and awareness around what's running. And I think regular reviews is the other thing that's going to have to take place within this.
I'm just glad that when it ran out of Claude credits, it didn't immediately bump you into another Claude tier and charge you more.
That's
money.
right.
Yeah. All right. Well, the flip side of calling your tools from within HubSpot is calling HubSpot from your AI tools. So there's been the ChatGPT connector, the Claude, Gemini. There's a bunch of others that connect into HubSpot. ChatGPT, I think, was maybe 6 months ago, but I think the Gemini one was only recent.
Yes, it was.
So they are still pretty new. And this just means you can connect in, let's say ChatGPT, connect it so it's talking to HubSpot. You can from ChatGPT, or I know you do this from Claude, and you're calling into HubSpot for it to pull data out of HubSpot and for you to use. Now, I think the only comment we need to make here is where we started almost at the top of the show around privacy and governance.
Yes.
Because when you connect in, you only get access to what you can see, but quite often the people playing with these tools are super admins connecting them in. And if you share that ChatGPT instance, say with other team members, and that's been connected with your own security permissions, then they may get access to stuff they shouldn't be seeing simply because you have access to it. But on top of that, there's, well, if the tools pull out that data, what do they do with it? And you've got some points here about how they retain it. Ian?
Yeah, and so I put this in here, Craig, because we had a conversation with the enterprise customer and they were talking about what's the retention policy? Does it use my data to train the model? And so why I put this in the notes is just to be aware that a lot of they will all have policies. So in this case, we're just going to talk about OpenAI. And so they were saying, if you're on enterprise teams or education plan, the connector the data is not used for training consistent with their terms. But it does say if you're on a Pro or Pro Plus plan, which is a consumer tier, you have the option to opt out, which means that you're automatically opted in for model training on your ChatGPT settings. So, and it says it may not use it to improve connector. It'll use it to improve connector performance, etc., and retrieval accuracy. So just be aware of that. You might not want to do that. You might want to turn that off. And then it talks about its data retention practices. So just be aware that, like, they've all got information. They've stipulated it pretty clearly. And I think this is really awareness piece around what's happening with your data. Mostly if you're enterprise, this is very critical.
And I think it's really important because lots of companies have sensitive data and they don't want it being sucked out into other systems.
Correct.
That makes sense. By the way, I'm glad to. I wonder if Facebook will ever allow their whatever their thing's called connect to other tools.
Meta AI.
Meta AI, is it? Yeah. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I would never connect anything from Facebook into HubSpot because no matter what they said, I would never trust Facebook. I'm sure you connect it and they would just suck everything they possibly could.